Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into the world of 3D creation today. Specifically, how AI could be changing the game.
Yeah. It's incredible to see how fast this technology is advancing.
Well, there were two companies we're focusing on, Cybever and Cloud Zeta. They're partnering up, and, well, it seems like they're trying to make 3D worlds something anyone can create.
That's the big idea. Cybeter is developing the AI that actually builds these 3D
What's
environments
based on, like, what?
or instructions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sketches, descriptions, you name it. And Cloud Zeta is providing the cloud infrastructure, the muscle, to make it all run smoothly online.
Hold on. So I could scribble a dragon and this AI could turn that into a 3D model I could use in a game or something.
That's what they're promising. And supposedly in about 15 minutes, one of the key things here is their use of OpenUSD.
Okay, gotta admit, I'm not totally up to speed on OpenUSD. It's this universal 3D language, right? But we've had different 3D formats forever. Why is this a game changer? Think of it this way. OpenUSD is what lets all those different software programs, the platforms, actually understand each other. It's like, finally, we have one language for 3D data.
So no more like headaches trying to get models from one program to work in another.
Exactly. And that's been a huge roadblock for 3D work in the past.
Makes sense. So Cyberverse and Cloud Zeta are building this platform where compatibility isn't an issue.
That's the goal. They want users to bring in assets from anywhere, even their own custom stuff, without running into those old compatibility problems.
And that's where Cloud Zeta comes in, right? They're the experts at making all of these different pieces play nice together in the cloud.
Spot on. Cloud Zeta, they specialize in standardizing and verifying 3D assets, making sure everything integrates smoothly. So say you have a model you made in Blender, you should be able to plop that right into your AI-generated environment with no hassle.
Now that's cool. But I'm really curious about the AI itself. What makes Cyberverse AI different from, say, other 3D modeling tools? What's the secret sauce?
It's a good question. We don't have all the details yet, but it seems they've trained this AI on a massive amount of 3D data, environments, objects, the works. So it can understand what you mean when you give it instructions, not just generate random shapes.
So it's not just spitting out models, it's understanding what I'm trying to create.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting because the smarter this AI gets, the more complex and detailed the worlds we can create become. Imagine just typing in a few keywords and boom, you have a bustling city street. Buildings, cars, people, everything.
That sounds wild. And you mentioned this is all going to be web-based. So anyone with a browser could theoretically become a 3D world builder.
That's the vision.
Yeah.
They're aiming to launch in early 2025, so not too far off. It really could democratize 3D creation in a way we've never seen before. But, there's another piece to this I find really interesting, the potential impact this could have on industries beyond just gaming and entertainment.
Right, right. It's not just about making prettier games. Well, why don't we explore that in part two?
We've been talking about how this platform, can make 3D creation super easy, accessible for everyone, but the really exciting part, I think, is what this tech could do for industries beyond just entertainment.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into that. We touched on digital twins before, those virtual copies of real things. Seems like a perfect fit for this kind of technology.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine architects using this to design buildings in real time. Clients could walk through a space virtually before it's even built. Or think about manufacturers using digital twins of their factories. They could test out production lines, find problems, optimize the whole process before making any physical changes.
So less expensive real-world mistakes, more virtual trial and error. That's pretty powerful.
Exactly. And think about the potential for training and education. Like, surgeons could practice complex procedures on a 3D model of a patient's heart. Firefighters could train in a virtual burning building. That level of immersive learning could completely change how we learn, right?
Wow. Yeah, being able to practice for those kinds of high-pressure situations, but in a safe environment, that's huge.
And it's not just professionals. Think about students, right? Designing their own virtual worlds for history projects, collaborating on science experiments in a simulated lab. It's a whole new dimension for learning, for making it interactive.
Sounds like we're talking about a fundamental shift in how we design, learn, work even. But, let's talk about AI and complex tech. I do wonder about accessibility. Will everyone be able to easily grasp OpenUSD and these new tools? Or is it still going to be a steep learning curve for those of us who aren't, super tech-savvy.
That's a fair point. Even though Cybever is really emphasizing ease of use, there will be a learning curve, for sure. But the cool thing about an open standard like OpenUSD is that it encourages a lot of different tools and resources to be developed.
So we could see what specialized software, tutorials, even online communities popping up to help people learn these new skills. Kind of like the early days of the internet, things seemed complicated at first, but the more people got involved, the easier it became for everyone.
Precisely. Plus, remember, this platform is still being developed. It's not launching until early 2025, so there's still time for them to really refine the user experience, make it as accessible as possible.
Okay, so some unknowns, but the potential is definitely huge. And with this whole push towards democratizing 3D creation, it makes you wonder who else might get into the game.
Definitely. I mean, it's easy to imagine a future where small businesses, artists, even hobbyists are creating and sharing their own 3D worlds. It could lead to an explosion of creativity and innovation in the 3D space.
That brings up an interesting point. Right now, when we think about those high-quality 3D experiences, we think about, expensive gaming PCs or VR headsets. But what if this technology could make those experiences available to anyone with just a web browser?
That's the power of cloud computing, right? Cloud Zeta's infrastructure is doing the heavy lifting. So you could potentially experience a super realistic 3D world on your phone, a tablet, even an old laptop.
So no need for a room full of expensive equipment. You could visit a virtual museum from your couch, attend a concert with friends across the world, all through your web browser. That opens up some amazing possibilities for how we experience 3D.
Totally. And that's what we'll be diving into in the final part of our deep dive. We'll explore how this technology could break down barriers, connect people, change how we experience the world around us.
We've been talking about all the amazing things this technology could do, from making 3D creation easier for everyone to, changing industries like manufacturing and education. But that last point you made in part two about making high-quality 3D accessible to pretty much anyone, that's really stuck with me.
It is pretty remarkable to think about, right? We usually associate those immersive 3D experiences with expensive gear and specialized software. But with this platform, that could all change.
It almost reminds me of the early days of the internet. Things went from being, exclusive to a select few to being available to practically everyone. I remember when having a website was a big deal. Now everyone and their dog has one. Could this be a similar turning point for 3D?
It certainly has that potential. And a lot of it comes down to cloud computing. With Cloud Zeta's infrastructure handling all the complex stuff, the processing in the cloud, the limitations of your own device kind of disappear.
So instead of needing that top-of-the-line gaming PC with the, crazy price tag, you could explore a detailed virtual museum from an old laptop, or even your phone.
Exactly. Imagine students taking a virtual field trip to the Amazon, or architects collaborating on a building design from different continents, all in a shared 3D environment. The possibilities for education, collaboration, even tourism are incredible.
It's like the metaverse suddenly becomes a lot more real. Not just this abstract idea, but something you can actually experience and interact with every day, no matter what tech you have.
And with that accessibility, we could see a whole new wave of creators and experiences. It's not just the big studios with tons of money anymore. Independent artists, small businesses, educators, everyone can contribute to this 3D world.
It's like opening the floodgates for creativity. Instead of a limited selection of 3D experiences from a few big players, we can see this huge variety of content, reflecting different perspectives and ideas from all kinds of people.
That's what's so exciting about democratizing technology. It's not just about making it cheaper or easier. It's about empowering people to share their stories, their ideas with the world.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've talked about the tech behind this platform, how it could affect different industries, and this exciting vision of a more accessible and inclusive future for 3D.
It's amazing to see how all these pieces fit together. It really makes you wonder, what will this new 3D world look like as more people join in and start creating? What kinds of experiences will we see? It's full of possibilities.
And to our listeners, we'll leave you with this. What kind of 3D world will you create? What stories will you tell? What experiences will you share? We can't wait to see what the future holds.